Hi, I'm Rachel at BayOne. BayOne's a minority-owned talent solution provider that partners with many tech companies. We're passionate about diversity in tech and opening doors for more women and underrepresented minorities to have careers in the tech industry. I want to welcome Henry Childs, who is on BayOne's advisory board. He's a businessman, investor, and philanthropist. He's CEO and founder of the Minority Wealth Commission, which is the largest national organization intentionally dedicated to reducing the racial wealth gap impacting the US. Welcome, Henry.
Hey, Rachel. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we want to talk about diversity in tech, and large companies have been making diversity pledges over the last 7-8 years, but numbers haven't moved. There's lots of excitement and also promises around hiring Black tech talent, but there's also a lot of skepticism if companies can deliver on those promises. What do you see it taking to move the needle?
So that's a really good question. I just want to walk back to how minority businesses were doing before the pandemic, just to give a little scope of why this is so important. So before the national lockdown, minority businesses were growing much faster than non-minority businesses. They were growing, there was 10 times as many minority businesses. Their annual revenues were increasing at a 3 times multiple, and they were investing $1.4 trillion into the economy. Then COVID hit, and from February to April, we saw 40% of Black businesses just shut down, and they never recovered. And then in May, after George Floyd's murder, what we saw was a lot of corporations then say, hey, we need to do something to support Black businesses. And that's when you saw a bunch of the pledges, and you saw everybody saying that, they needed to do something. But what happened is, after the initial pledges, we really haven't seen much action beyond, some small grants and some other things. And the reason why I think it's hard for corporations to really do this is because right now they're competing against, the future of work. So at the same time that they're trying to diversify their workforce, they're also trying to stay competitive in the marketplace. So there's this mix of training and upskilling and doing the right thing. And then on the other end, there's like, hey, we have to worry about our margins, and we have to worry about competing in a global marketplace. So what it's going to really take to answer your question is we have to have a focus, not just from corporations, but we have to have an ecosystem to really start helping Black businesses get the talent they need, get the investments they need, so that they're able to, meet corporations where they're needed to at size and scale.
Yeah, thanks, Henry. So we're excited to start an interview series with you about Black tech talent. Can you share a preview with us of some of the topics you'll be covering?
Oh yeah, it's going to be exciting because we're really going to touch on the big issues. First of all, we're going to talk about the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Corporations understand why it's important, but we want to talk about the economics of it more so than the social justice, because with millennials and post-millennials, we know that U.S. demographic change is driving a different type of consumer in the United States. We know millennials are worried about environmental issues and social justice issues, and corporations are trying to catch up to that new ethos. So that's an important one. The second one is funding. And it's most overlooked. For example, in 2020, venture capital had a record year. There was $150 billion raised for venture capital, but only $1 billion of that went to Black startup founders. That's less than 1%. So there has to be an increase in investment. And then the third thing that we're really going to be looking at is the Black tech pipeline. We can ask corporations to do well, but they need a pipeline, and that's incumbent on us to start really getting the Black pipeline. We have to hit universities harder. We have to have an innovation ethos within Black culture in order to help corporations fill their mandates.
Thanks so much, Henry. I look forward to tuning in to the Black Tech Talent video series. Thanks.
Thank you.